Hello. This will be a workshop for app developers who would like to have their apps on Firefox OS as well. So I will have a brief introduction what's different with Firefox OS and how to achieve something with Cordova. So Firefox OS is a Firefox on top of the device, which means that there are a few layers, and the one which we see, the UI, is made entirely in HTML5. It is the HTML with JavaScript and nothing else. We've got web APIs which are connecting to the hardware, and that's how the whole thing is working. Oh, that's interesting. Skip this version. Now we're talking. Come on. Oh. Firefox OS is for upgrading the mobile world. We are targeting the emerging markets. This hardware is cheap, and we have released the phone in 24 countries already. There's many versions of the phones already, and we are developing it for the other devices. Soon it's gonna be like the television with the Firefox OS, and there's more coming. So the web apps in Firefox OS are defined by manifest. That means that we've got that any website with addition of the manifest will change into a web app. That's basically it. In the manifest, the minimal manifest contains a few things like name or icons and the path where the application will start. We've got 3 levels of access to the web to the Firefox OS. There's hosted apps, which is an application which might be installed from the web, doesn't have to be put on the marketplace. It is just enough to have a website with a manifest for it. A privileged app has more access to the APIs. It is a packaged application, and it needs to be downloaded from the marketplace. It doesn't have to be Firefox Marketplace, but because our marketplace is open and anyone can install their own. And certified apps is like apps which are the system apps, and if you are in position of giving the phone with the system, you are able to use to make the apps which are certified and have more access to the device. The hosted apps might be installed from the web, and the installation script looks like that. You may go back to the system, to the slides, if you want to copy the content, or just go to the MDN and see how it should be done in the documentation. Firefox OS Marketplace is like a store for applications, and it's fairly easy to upload the application on it. You have to just upload the file. It will be checked, so the manifest will be checked if it is valid, and the system will also find out which APIs you're going to use, and it will ask if all of these requirements are needed. So after you upload the application to the marketplace, you'll see that the app passed validation, and here are the APIs which this particular app will gonna use. You define which APIs will be used or which permission it additionally needs. Manifest file, which is auto-generated for you with Cordova. So there are many web APIs, And there are different APIs available for different type of web apps. So for hosted apps, this is a list. These APIs are also available for pages on Firefox OS if you browse them. And one of the few important is web payments. It is fairly easy to make in-app payments in Firefox OS. This is basically the code which is needed there. You just have to mark in the marketplace that you want to have in-app payments, and they will be given to you. Page visibility API is also something which is not actually an API, but it is also often needed to change something in the application if it is out of focus. We do have web workers, and you might basically use web workers and promises. This is basically a way to wait until something asynchronous happens and do something afterwards instead of putting a code into the callback. Privileged apps have a little bit more access to the system. There's system XHR for loading files, also files which are implemented with the app. And since 2.0, we've got the camera API available. To change the app from hosted app to privileged, one needs to change the type to privileged inside the manifest. It is also done for you if you use Cordova, and you will use a plugin which requires the app to be privileged. All of the privileged apps meet the content security policy. This is very important because quite often one says that the app doesn't work, doesn't install on the phone, and the only fault is that some plugin in Cordova was used which requires the app to be privileged, and even default application on the starting application on the Cordova uses inline JavaScript. So inline JavaScript is forbidden in privileged apps. That's the most important thing. Also, other stuff like eval, set timeout is possible if you don't use the code in strings. So code in strings is forbidden as well. Web APIs for certified apps, there's much more APIs available for certified apps. We will not talk about them today because it's uncommon that someone will actually develop an app which is certified. One thing which is also kind of different in Firefox OS are web activities. This is a way to achieve access to the API which is available only for certified apps, or it is to achieve some data from a system where we don't want to code, and it is provided for us. So web activities is we ask the system to do something for us, and when the system launches an application which is specified for this action, it will give us back the data, and we can use it as we want. So I will show you that just like the sender activity. So like if you would like to have pick some image, we just use an activity pick on image data, and after we get it on success, we may create an element with the data received from this activity. But activities are very nice also because we can create an application which will be a default, which will be one of the target of the activities. So if we have some application which would work also like pick image, and it will do something with this image, then we can register this application as activity, and other application will be able to call to receive this information. Also, like calling, so sending a number to the phone, is achievable through web activities, like adding a contact. There is a boilerplate, an application made by Robert Newman, and it is on GitHub, so we can browse the code. And it is a good example of using activities using Firefox OS APIs in the JavaScript. Basically, it is not done with Cordova, but it is using the Firefox OS very good. So finally, Cordova support. Cordova support is done through plugins, and only 2 plugins are not supported at the moment, which is media capture and network information and media. Majority of it is supported like fully, but some are partially supported, like camera, an example. So you don't have access to the camera until the Firefox 2.0. So to get image from the camera, you need to use web activities, and camera plugin is actually using web activity to get the image. We've got a PhoneGap developer app. Well, not yet, but it is in the making, and you can see it working here. If you click on this hacks post, there's an animation, there's a video of how to install it and how to use the PhoneGap developer app. Jason Withersby has written a Cordova sample app, and this is something similar to this application which was using web activities, the boilerplate app, but for Cordova. So it is using few plugins, and it is showing how to use it. It is obviously the code is available online, and you can check how to use many plugins on Cordova with Firefox OS. Like camera plugin, an example. So the get picture will not actually connect you to the camera API. It will open the web activity here, and you will choose from which application you would like to get the image. There are some differences in Firefox API. So in example, you don't have real access to files, and instead the IndexedDB is used. So for Cordova, you use it as you would use files, but it actually is in the background using IndexedDB for it. Only the files you add with the app inside. So if you add the data directory and put some files in it, and you will give it to the users with the application, those are used with the XHR. So basically as other assets from the web. So we do have a library for web components. It is called Brick, and Brick is very easy to use. So let's say we would like to have like 2 pages in the application. An example for settings. So to switch to settings, the application will flip, and it will show settings and then flip again to show back the application, which is like very nice to see, and it's very easy to program. On the right-hand side, you see the entire code you need to do it. So you just need to import the polyfill, then the custom element, so exactly the flip box. And in the end, this is the code in the HTML which is needed to use. So the front is the entire thing which happens on the front of the flip box, and the back is the HTML code which will happen in the back. Obviously, this is very simple example as the HTML code is just front and back strings, but if you will add anything else, it will show up as well. We've got plenty of tools at the moment, so they will all help you with development with Firefox OS. There is Web IDE. We used to have App Manager, but in the future versions of Firefox, it will be deprecated. And Web IDE is like management for applications on your development machine, but also allows you to edit the files, and it's not necessary to edit inside the Web IDE, but it is possible to do so. And also, it uses the standard Firefox tools, Firefox web development tools, to develop applications as well. So as you can see here, we can use debugger to debug the applications. The new thing is the monitor, which gives the live view of the memory usage of the application. And we've got performance monitor. So performance monitor is you just click once on the recording button here. It is very small actually, and this performance monitor will start to record how the application works, how CPU is used, and afterwards you may see in which particular function in here it is slow, and then you can fix it, check again, and make the application quick. This is very important for the games, obviously. There's something also pretty new. It is web audio editor. So if your application is creating any sound, and not only using like MP3, then you will see how this app is created, which particular parts of the API are used to produce the sound. This is the Canvas debugger. So if your application is written so it uses Canvas, you may develop it much better than with the standard debugger. There's just more feature specifically for Canvas. Also, there's the shader editor and network monitor. This is actually from the website, but it works similar on the Firefox OS. How the network is used. The inspector is just to basically inspect the site, where is which element, and allows to change the CSS or whatever. Storage inspector is for looking inside the storage API. For more information, there's a very good developer hub, and obviously MDN. And Hugs blog is also important. There's people from Mozilla who are writing the newest inventions. And obviously our wiki, MDN. You will be given the phones, the Flame phones. And there will be a few steps you will need to do with them to make them a developer phone. There's this link below, which has all the steps you may want to do with this phone. But the main thing is to switch it to developer mode, which is this. And so I will leave it on this slide for the moment, and we'll switch the phones to the developer mode, so we will be able to work with them. Okay, so if there's anyone who wants to make his app like you be installed on the Firefox OS, someone will help you. And because the majority of us don't have any apps, we can go through a tutorial, which I've written some time ago. And let's do it. Because this was, okay. Who doesn't have Cordova installed on the machine? Cordova? You don't have it? Do you have the Node.js on the machine? Yes. So just npm install Cordova as it is here. I think you need to install it globally, so -G. So okay, this is from another talk. I just added this slide, and it is, so the headline is in Polish, but this is like how to work with Cordova and command line interface. And so you need to have the Node.js. If someone doesn't have Node.js, he needs to install Node.js as soon as possible. Does anyone not have Node.js installed on the machine? Hands up. I do. Anyone has? Good. So the Cordova needs to be installed if someone doesn't have it, and then we might create a new application and just add the Firefox OS platform to it. We don't need to add the plugin even. I'll just delete the plugin. Okay. So these are all steps to make a standard Cordova app to be available for Firefox OS, and you will be able to open it from App Manager or Web IDE, whatever thing you use at the moment. To debug and push is from within Firefox itself. Okay. You can still develop from Visual Studio, absolutely. So has anyone run the application on the Firefox OS device? Who? Yeah. Good. The question? Excuse me? To push it on the device, you need to go to App Manager or Web IDE and load the application into it. Yeah. So this would be this slide, not slide by. Here. Come on, show it. So you need to connect to the in the App Manager. You need to connect to the device. You use App Manager or Web IDE? Web IDE. Okay, cool. So in Web IDE will be like tools. We have a select runtime Flame, which will connect to the phone, and then you open the application and it's working. In the App Manager, it will be add a packaged app, and you will add the app to the system. We may also work without the phone on the simulator. So they say that the simulator, no device found, plug a device or start the simulator, and you will be able to install new simulators on any version you would like to have, and then run the simulator and run the application on the simulator as well. Okay. And every time when you do want to check the code, you need to prepare. And let's see if it will work. Is it this one? Yep. Okay. Yeah, and there in the console, there's something console log. So if someone wanted to connect the JavaScript, so the like the simplest debug, which is the logging of the application, then this is how you do it. There's an extremely simple tutorial on Hacks blog post. Like it is like I've written something like everyone would want to have an application which will be useful, but extremely not complicated, like the most simplest thing ever. Then on the Hacks blog post there's a thing, hacks.mozilla.org, and there's I've just written this, the creating mobile app from a simple HTML site. I'll just make a bit.ly from it. Okay. Okay. So here's the link to the tutorial. If you would like to start developing with Cordova, not necessarily using Firefox OS, but it is about it, then here is a link to the tutorial, which is basically giving you the experience of developing for Firefox OS using Cordova from scratch, like from basically using simple HTML. So our time is about to finish. We still have got like 5 minutes to wrap up. We will be here, so if you have any questions, just ask, and thank you.